Ladies and gentlemen, they say let your success make the noise. But have you ever noticed the strongest trees don't boast about their roots, the deepest rivers don't roar about their depth, and the most powerful people don't feel the need to show off their success. But in today's world where validation comes in likes and success is measured by how many people admire you, staying quiet about your achievements feels unnatural, doesn't it? Let me tell you something powerful. True success doesn't seek an audience. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't crave attention. Because real success is not about showing off. It's about showing up. The power of silence. Think about the greatest minds, the most successful souls. They work in silence. While the world is busy seeking attention, they are busy seeking excellence. While others are trying to impress, they are trying to improve. And while some waste their time showing off, they are investing their time in showing results. There's a famous saying, work hard in silence, let success be your noise. But today, we are too afraid of silence, aren't we? We want people to see our struggles, to admire our efforts, to recognize our growth. But tell me, does a seed announce when it's growing underground? No, it quietly gathers strength, and when the time is right, it breaks through the soil, tall, strong, and unshaken. Why do we show off? The need to show off comes from insecurity, from the fear that if people don't see our success, they won't believe in it. But my friend, success is not about them. It's about you. If you are truly growing, truly evolving, truly winning, does it matter if the world knows? Success is often misunderstood. Many people believe that to be successful, you need to be seen, heard, and recognized. They think that success is about standing in the spotlight, about making sure the world knows how hard you worked and how much you have achieved. But the truth is, real success doesn't seek attention. It seeks excellence. It is not about how many people applaud you. It is about how deeply you have mastered your craft, how much value you have added, and how much you have grown, not in the eyes of others, but in your own. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. He doesn't carve for the audience. He carves because his hands know the rhythm, his soul understands the art, and his heart desires perfection. The applause is secondary. The process itself is what matters. That is the essence of true success. It is not about making sure people see what you're doing. It is about doing it so well that your work speaks for itself, even in silence. In today's world, success is often measured in numbers, followers, views, likes, and external validation. But have you ever noticed that the greatest minds, the most influential people, the real game changers were often the ones who worked behind the scenes? They were not chasing attention, they were chasing excellence. They were so deeply consumed by their passion, their vision, and their purpose that they had no time to pause and prove anything to the world. And that is exactly why they became legends. The world is filled with noise. Everywhere you look, someone is trying to prove their worth, trying to make sure they are noticed. But the problem with constantly seeking attention is that it takes your focus away from what truly matters. Your growth, your craft, your purpose. When you are too busy showing off, you lose the very essence of what makes success meaningful. You start doing things for the world instead of doing them for yourself. And the moment your motivation shifts from personal growth to external validation, you start losing the depth, the passion, and the authenticity that could have truly made you great. Think about the most powerful forces of nature. The sun doesn't announce its rise, it just shines. The river doesn't scream about its depth. It just flows. The mountains don't shout about their strength. They just stand tall. The same principle applies to human greatness. When you are truly powerful, when you have truly mastered your craft, when you are truly successful, you don't need to announce it. It becomes evident in your actions, your results, and your presence. But the world today makes you believe otherwise. Social media, competition, and the desire to be seen can often trick you into thinking that if people don't witness your hard work, it doesn't count. That if you don't post about your success, it isn't real. That if you don't show the world how much you are progressing, you aren't progressing at all. And that is the biggest lie. Because the truth is, the most successful people don't waste time proving themselves. They are too busy improving themselves. Excellence is the personal journey. It is a silent commitment to yourself. It is about pushing your limits, expanding your knowledge, refining your skills, and evolving every single day. Not because someone is watching, but because you demand it from yourself. Because you know that true fulfillment does not come from applause. It comes from knowing that you gave your best, that you became better, that you reached a level of mastery that cannot be ignored, even if you never speak about it. There is a unique kind of power in silence. When you don't announce your moves, people underestimate you. When you don't seek validation, people become curious about you. When you don't show off your progress, your results shock them. And that is how true power works. It does not beg for attention, it commands respect. And respect is never given to those who seek it, it is given to those who earn it. When you stop seeking attention and start focusing entirely on excellence, something incredible happens. You free yourself from the pressure of proving yourself to the world. You no longer waste energy worrying about whether people see your success or not. You become unstoppable because your only competition is you. Your only goal is growth, and your only motivation is mastery. Look around you, the loudest people are really the most successful. The ones who constantly brag, constantly seek recognition, constantly need validation, they are often the ones who are the most insecure. They are the ones who need to be reassured of their worth because deep down, they are unsure of it themselves. But those who are truly great, those who are truly confident, those who have truly achieved something remarkable, they don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. Their work speaks for them, their presence speaks for them, their results speak for them. The world will try to tempt you. It will tell you that you need to be visible to be valuable, that you need to prove yourself to be important, that you need to constantly remind people of your success to be respected. But remember this, the greatest respect comes not from what you show, but from what you become. The most powerful people are not those who demand attention, but those who command admiration through their work, their dedication, and their excellence. Success is not a performance, it is not a show, it is not a contest of who can appear the most impressive. It is a deeply personal, quiet, and relentless pursuit of excellence. It is about becoming so good at what you do that the world cannot ignore you, even if you never say a word. In a world that constantly pushes people to seek validation, to chase applause, and to measure success by external recognition, it is easy to get caught in the illusion that the spotlight defines worth. From an early age, we are conditioned to believe that the more people notice us, the more valuable we are. That if no one is watching, then what we do doesn't matter. But the truth is, real success has never been about who sees you. It has always been about what you become when no one is looking. The greatest artists, the most brilliant minds, and the most powerful leaders in history never pursued the spotlight. They pursued mastery. They knew that the depth of their craft mattered more than the noise of their surroundings. While others sought attention, they sought improvement. While some worked for applause, they worked for perfection. And while many wasted time trying to be seen, they invested time trying to be better. That is the difference between those who rise temporarily and those who leave a lasting legacy. When you master your craft instead of chasing the spotlight, something extraordinary happens. You begin to create from a place of passion rather than a place of pressure. You are no longer worried about whether people recognize your efforts because your focus is entirely on the work itself. Your motivation shifts from being admired to being excellent, and excellence has a power that attention can never replace. The problem with chasing the spotlight is that it is temporary. Today, people may admire you. Tomorrow, they may forget you. The applause you receive today will eventually fade, and the validation you seek will never be enough. No matter how much recognition you get, there will always be a need for more. But when you focus on your craft, when you commit to being the absolute best at what you do, then even in silence, your work will speak for itself. Think about the strongest structures in the world. Their foundation is built in the quiet, away from the eyes of the world. No one watches the roots of a tree grow, yet they are what make the tree unshakable. No one sees the steel framework of a skyscraper before it stands tall, yet that is what holds it together. Your craft is your foundation. It is what will determine whether your success is short-lived or whether it will stand the test of time, and that is why it demands your complete focus. In a time where success is often measured by how many people are watching, the real test is how well you perform when no one is. Do you still push yourself when there is no applause? Do you still give your best when there is no audience? Do you still wake up with the same fire, the same dedication, and the same hunger for growth, even when no one acknowledges your efforts? If the answer is yes, then you are on the right path. Because true greatness is never built in the public eye. It is built in solitude, in discipline, in the quiet moments where real progress happens. People often mistake visibility for success, but they are not the same thing. Just because someone is seen does not mean they are great, and just because someone is unnoticed does not mean they are failing. Some of the most talented, hardworking, and extraordinary individuals in the world are not the ones constantly in front of cameras, but the ones who spend years perfecting their work behind the scenes. They are the ones who are so committed to their craft that they do not care whether the world is watching or not. And in the end, it is their work, not their words, not their presence, not their self-promotion that earns them respect. Mastery takes time. It requires patience. It requires an unwavering commitment to excellence even when there is no immediate reward. It is about sharpening your skills day after day, even when progress feels slow. It is about choosing depth over popularity, substance over recognition, and dedication over distraction. And most importantly, it is about understanding that true success is never about how many people admire you. It is about how much value you bring to the world through what you do. The people who chase the spotlight often burn out quickly. They spend so much energy trying to maintain an image, trying to keep the attention on themselves, that they lose sight of what truly matters. They become trapped in the cycle of constantly proving themselves rather than improving themselves. But those who focus on mastery, on becoming the best version of themselves, on refining their craft, they build something that lasts. They may not be seen immediately, but in time, the world recognizes their brilliance. It takes courage to step away from the noise, to resist the temptation of seeking validation, and to commit fully to the work that truly matters. It takes strength to be patient, to trust that mastery will bring recognition naturally rather than forcing it. And it takes wisdom to understand that in the end, it is not the spotlight that creates greatness, it is the dedication to the craft itself. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, for invisibility, for insignificance. In a world that thrives on noise, on constant validation, on the need to be seen and heard, the idea of working in silence seems almost unnatural. But the truth is, real power lies in the quiet moments of relentless effort, in the discipline of consistent action, in the unwavering focus that doesn't seek recognition but seeks results. There is a certain strength in those who do not announce their plans, who do not feel the need to prove themselves at every step, who do not waste energy making sure the world knows how hard they are working. These are the ones who rise, not because they are loud, but because they are unstoppable. They are so deeply committed to their craft, to their growth, to their mission, that they have no time to pause and explain. Their work speaks for them. Their progress is their voice, and their results make the noise that truly matters. It is easy to get caught in the trap of wanting people to notice your efforts. When you work hard, when you sacrifice, when you dedicate yourself to something, you naturally want the world to acknowledge it. But the desire for recognition can often become a distraction. It shifts your focus from doing the work to proving that you are doing the work. And the moment your energy is divided between achieving and showcasing, you slow down. You dilute your power. You become more concerned with perception than with progress. Think of the most powerful forces in nature. The roots of a tree grow deep into the earth without anyone seeing them, yet they are what give the tree its strength. A river carves through mountains over time, not by announcing its power, but through the quiet, persistent force of its flow. The most unshakable structures are built on foundations that are hidden from view, yet they hold everything together. Your journey, your progress, your success should be the same. It should be built in silence, with a foundation so strong that by the time the world sees it, it is undeniable. There is a reason why some of the most successful people in the world are not the ones constantly talking about their goals, but the ones relentlessly working on them. They understand that every moment spent proving themselves to others is a moment taken away from actually becoming better. They do not waste time trying to convince the world of their worth. They spend that time becoming so good that the world cannot ignore them. In a time where everyone is eager to showcase their journey, where success is often measured by how much attention you can attract, choosing to work in silence may seem like a disadvantage. But silence is a strategy. It protects you from unnecessary opinions, from external pressures, from distractions that can pull you away from what truly matters. When you keep your plans, your struggles, and your progress to yourself, you retain control over them. You move without interference. You grow without limitations. Many people start strong, filled with motivation, excitement, and the desire to prove themselves. They announce their goals. They share their ambitions. They seek approval. But as time passes, that initial energy fades. The need for external validation becomes greater than the will to persist. They start looking around, comparing themselves to others, questioning their path. And in that noise, in that constant search for recognition, they lose the very thing that could have made them great: their ability to stay focused, to stay disciplined, to stay committed, regardless of who is watching. The ones who truly succeed are not those who shout the loudest, but those who work the hardest. They are the ones who do not need to be reminded of their purpose, because their purpose is so deeply embedded in them that they wake up every day driven by it. They do not need applause to keep going because their motivation comes from within. They do not need validation because they know that real success is measured not by attention but by accomplishment. There is something powerful about moving in silence. When people do not know your next step, they cannot interfere. When they do not see your struggles, they cannot discourage you. When they are not aware of your plans, they cannot create obstacles in your path. You become unpredictable, unstoppable, and untouchable. Your only competition becomes yourself. Your only focus becomes progress, and your only goal becomes mastery. It is not easy to resist the urge to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be praised. The world teaches us that visibility equals success, but visibility without substance is empty. True success does not come from how many people are watching. It comes from how much effort you put in when no one is. It comes from the long nights of dedication, from the unseen hours of practice, from the silent battles you fight within yourself to keep going. The loudest person in the room is often the weakest. The strongest one is the one who does not need to prove anything, who does not need to announce their strength, who does not need to be the center of attention. They are the ones who observe, who listen, who learn, who grow. And when they finally speak, when they finally step into the light, the world has no choice but to listen, because they did not waste time talking, they spent it becoming. Showing off is often mistaken for confidence, for power, for proof. proof of success. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, where people measure their worth by how much attention they can attract, it is easy to believe that if you do not display your achievements, they do not exist. But true achievement has never been about how loudly you can declare it. It has always been about how deeply you can live it. Insecurity is a silent force that drives many people to seek validation. When someone is truly secure in their abilities, they do not feel the need to constantly remind the world of what they have done. They do not need to make every conversation about themselves. They do not need to prove their worth in every interaction. Their presence, their work, their results speak for them, but when a person is uncertain of their own value, they look for ways to make sure others see them. They want to be reassured, they want to be recognized, they want to be noticed, not because they are strong, but because they are afraid of being overlooked. There is a fine line between confidence and arrogance, between authenticity and performance. Confidence is silent. It is knowing your worth without needing to advertise it. It is walking into a room and not feeling the need to dominate the conversation. It is being so secure in your own journey that you do not have to compare it to someone else's. But arrogance is different. It is built on the fear that if people do not see your success, they will not believe in it. It is the need to constantly highlight your victories, to ensure that no moment passes without recognition. And the problem with arrogance is that it is fragile. It depends entirely on external approval. The moment the applause stops, the confidence disappears. The moment people stop watching, the sense of worth fades. The strongest people do not demand attention. They do not spend their energy trying to impress others. They do not waste time curating an image of success rather than actually building success. They focus on the work, on the growth, on the mastery of their craft. They understand that showing off is a distraction. It takes time away from improvement. It turns focus outward rather than inward. And when your focus is constantly on how others perceive you, you stop becoming the best version of yourself. Think of the most respected individuals in the world. They are not the ones who constantly talk about what they have done. They are the ones who let their actions define them. They are the ones who show up, do the work, and allow their results to speak louder than any words ever could. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. True power is subtle, quiet, undeniable. It does not seek approval because it does not need it. Social media has made it easier than ever to fall into the trap of needing to show off. The constant pressure to share every achievement, to prove success through numbers, to ensure that people see the hard work, it can be exhausting. But the question to ask is, who are you doing it for? If no one was watching, would you still be as dedicated? If there is no audience, would you still put in the same effort? True success is measured not by how many people recognize it, but by how deeply it transforms you. Some of the most successful people in history spent years working in silence. They did not rush to prove themselves. They did not seek validation at every step. They understood that mastery takes time, that greatness is not built in moments of recognition, but in years of unseen effort. The athlete who trains alone in the early hours, the writer who fills pages that no one reads, the entrepreneur who builds something before the world notices, all of them know that the real work happens in the quiet. And because they are focused on the work rather than the image, their success lasts. The problem with showing off is that it becomes an addiction. The more you rely on external approval, the more you need it. It creates a cycle where your self-worth is tied to how others perceive you. And when that perception changes, when people stop paying attention, it can leave you feeling lost. But when you build confidence from within, when you do the work for yourself rather than for an audience, you become unshakable. You no longer need people to acknowledge your success because you know it exists, whether they see it or not. There's a reason why the most successful people are often the most humble. It is not because they lack confidence. It is because they do not need to prove anything. They are too focused on growing, on improving, on becoming better every single day. They know that true achievement is not about convincing others. It is about becoming someone so capable, so skilled, so impactful that the world notices naturally. When you see someone constantly trying to show off their success, understand that it is not a sign of strength, it is a sign of insecurity. True strength is knowing your worth without needing to display it. True confidence is doing the work without seeking validation. True success is not measured by how many people are watching, but by how deeply you commit to your purpose. True success is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about becoming someone so capable, so skilled, so valuable that recognition becomes inevitable. But the moment you start chasing validation, you lose focus on what truly matters. The need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be admired is a distraction that can pull you away from the real work, the kind of work that transforms you from within. Many people believe that success is about looking successful. They spend their energy trying to appear accomplished, ensuring that others see their achievements, making sure that every step is documented for approval. But in doing so, they miss the essence of what true success is. It is not about how many people recognize your efforts. It is about how deeply you master your craft. It is about the skills you develop when no one is watching, the discipline you build in silence, the growth that happens behind closed doors. The greatest achievements in history were not created by those who sought attention. They were created by those who sought excellence. While some people were busy trying to impress the world, others were busy improving themselves. And in the end, it is the ones who focus on improvement who leave a lasting impact. They do not need to announce their progress because their progress is undeniable. It is easy to get caught in the habit of showcasing every success, of seeking constant approval, of making sure that people recognize how hard you are working. But every moment spent proving yourself is a moment taken away from actually becoming better. The time and energy used to gain validation could be used to sharpen your skills, to refine your craft, to push yourself beyond your limits. The people who achieve the most are not the ones who are constantly looking for recognition. They are the ones who are so deeply committed to their purpose that they do not even notice whether the world is watching or not. There is a certain peace that comes with knowing that your success does not depend on anyone's approval. When you are truly focused on growth, you stop caring about applause. You stop looking for validation. You stop needing external recognition to feel accomplished. Your motivation becomes internal. Your drive comes from within. And when you reach that level of focus, nothing can distract you. The problem with seeking validation is that it creates a cycle of dependency. The more you rely on external approval, the more you need it. You start making decisions based on what will impress others rather than what is truly right for you. You start choosing paths that look successful rather than paths that lead to real growth. And in the process, you lose sight of your own purpose. You become trapped in the illusion that success is about perception rather than reality. But true success is quiet. It is built in the moments that no one sees, in the early mornings of hard work, in the late nights of dedication, in the countless hours of practice that never get posted or praised. It is in the effort that happens behind the scenes, in the struggle that goes unnoticed, in the sacrifices that are made without expectation of applause. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who talk the most about their success. They are the ones who spend the most time working on it. They are the ones who do not waste time explaining their plans. They are too busy executing them. They do not pause to make sure the world sees their progress. They keep moving forward, knowing that their work will eventually speak for itself. There is an undeniable power in being focused on your journey without needing to prove anything to anyone. When you stop seeking validation, you gain a new level of freedom. You are no longer affected by opinions, by praise, by criticism. You do not slow down to respond to doubts, to justify your choices, to defend your success. You simply keep going, keep growing, keep evolving. And that is what separates those who achieve temporary recognition from those who build lasting success. Some of the most remarkable individuals in history worked in silence for years before the world even knew their names. They were not distracted by whether people noticed them. They were committed to mastery. They did not seek validation because they were too busy becoming exceptional. And when their work was finally seen, it was undeniable. It did not need explanation. It did not need proof. It stood on its own, powerful and unshakable. When you understand this, you start shifting your mindset. You stop chasing attention and start chasing excellence. You stop worrying about whether people see your efforts and start focusing on making those efforts count. You stop needing external motivation and start developing the kind of internal drive that cannot be shaken. And when you do that, success becomes inevitable. Not because you demand recognition, but because you have become someone who cannot be ignored.